That's never happened before. I wonder why it did it.
I don't know. So I hope this is okay. I'm wondering if because I clicked on just your picture, because instead of toggling it back and forth, because I don't need to see myself, I wanted to see you like on the big part, that I'm wondering if it was stuck on you because I was like the creator and then I had it on you. I don't need to see myself. I wanted to see you like on the big part. Well, I hear me from you. Because I was like the creator.
Oh, sorry.
So at least I know we're live.
It's working.
I gotta get to the chat here. Okay, so are we all good, peeps?
I'm good.
And the thing's all working now? Okay, so like we were saying before, we are reading Escaping from Houdini, which is the saga. It's the third in the saga by Carrie Maniscalco. And it's no like mystery to anybody that I am obsessed with this series and I'm obsessed with this writing style and just this author. So what did you rate it?
I'm torn. I haven't rated it yet.
So I think I'm gonna rate it a 4 out of 5 stars.
Me too.
Which is
4 out of 5
like,
stars.
it's still good, but it's like wasn't as good as
I had issues.
Dracula.
I had issues with this book in particular.
I have some. Okay, so Reed's Readers gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Okay. I would be interested to know what you guys have also rated the other books, because like for me, I think I rated Hunting for gosh darn it, Stalking Jack the Ripper. I rated a 4.5 out of 5 stars, and same, Thomas is amazing. And Hunting for Dracula, I rated a 5 out of 5 stars. That was one of my favorite books of the year. And this one I'm reading a 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah. I think I rated both, actually, Stalking Jack the Ripper and then Prince Dracula. I'm sorry, no, I muted it. I hear myself echoing.
Oh yeah, you're good.
And then I rated Hunting Prince Dracula 5 out of 5 stars. So yeah, this one I had issues. It's like, I'm wondering maybe it'll be like a 4.5 out of 5 stars, because I really enjoyed the characters. I really enjoyed the writing style. I had issues with the plot, which is like usually not things. I usually don't have issues with plots in a book. It's usually like the oh shoot, I'm sorry. I don't know how. I usually have issues with like character development or writing style. But yeah, that's what I had.
Okay, so in my opinion, this is a very different. The way that she wrote the plot in this book was very different than her other 2 books.
Yeah.
So her other 2 books, I felt like had a very I don't know, it was more like put together plot points, and it was like a chronological order with the murders and the way that things happened, and the flow was a lot better. This book, I felt it was a little stop and go. Like, everything happened at once, and then it was kind of drawn out. Like, we got, like, the drama, like, lifestyle one more, versus following the murders, and it didn't flow as well for me. So, what did you guys... do you guys get that same feeling?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I was halfway through the book, and it was like, God, nothing's happening. Because you're right. Something would happen, a murder would happen, and then 5 pages later, we would just be on like drama and scandal and oh yeah.
So I okay, so I'm just like we're gonna jump right into this. I was not a fan of the triangle, the love
No,
triangle that happened in this.
that's why I probably deducted it a whole star.
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
like Team Cressworth the entire way. Like I don't know who's not Team Cressworth, but
You met this guy like 3 days ago.
yes. Oh my gosh, yes. So yeah, exactly. Haley, it took me longer to read this one too, and we had it longer because we had the arcs,
Right.
and it I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it every time I picked it up, but it took me longer because like I was just like not into the drama and I wasn't into the love triangle. Like I like the character, and if it was in a different set, like a different book, I think I would love whatever his name is, metaphysical whatever.
Yeah, the Ringmaster.
Yeah, it's the Ringmaster. So I think like I love the character and the way that she made him, but he did not fit. His love did not fit with Audrey Rose. Like they had common ground, but they did not it wasn't there was no spark there. It was such a forced instant spark that it was like, what is this? Like
yeah, I would have much preferred it been like unrequited. Like I thought it was hilarious that he had feelings for her, but then when she started developing like confusion and feelings for him, I was like, wait a second, no, 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 I don't like this. I would have. I actually I thought it was kind of funny when like he kept like asking, trying to like win her over and she kept like shooting him down. I think that would have been funny and that would have been like great wit, if like he just kept trying and then like Cresswell could have just like thrown it in his face like, yeah, I've got her, you don't. Keep trying, it's never gonna happen. That could have been for like great banter between the three of them. But I don't like that she actually started developing like confusion for Thomas and that like she kind of cheated on him.
yep. I don't like it. Like
No.
I don't like that there was such a good connection between Audrey Rose and Thomas, and then this new person comes in that sort of shares an interest, and I'm like, he could literally be your friend. It doesn't have to be a romantic interest that you can share an interest with somebody. And I didn't like that it like had to be romance. And like I think it would have been funnier if he would have been like it would have worked better if he kept putting Audrey Rose in the position of ways to try to woo her, but like every time she found Tom, like came back to Thomas or spent time with Thomas, like she would realize how much of a connection her and Thomas really had, and she kind of did, but I wish it wouldn't have confused her feelings because that made it their connection less real.
Yeah. And what's crazy is like we went through, so she didn't really start developing true feelings for Thomas, like marriage feelings until like middle of Hunting Prince Dracula. So then how all of a sudden after 3 days, I don't know.
Yep.
And
to risk that, like how much she's already like they're basically engaged at this point.
Yeah.
And it's like why would she risk that? I don't know. I can see different sides to it because I can understand if like the character wants to see what else is out there before tying down to one person and whatnot. I can understand maybe that plot point of exploring it, but I don't like that it felt like she was tricked into liking him.
Not to mention he's pretty much Thomas.
Yeah, it's like a watered down Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a super fan of it. So I think that was a major down point of it. And I agree, Haley. I did not like how little Thomas we got. And there's like he was barely in the book. And I'm like, you're on a ship. Where are you? Why aren't you
like pretty much one of the main characters? Like now to me, like when I think about this book, I think about the two of them, like the series. So yeah, I also had a trouble with the title. I wrote things like in the back of the book in the author's notes. Well, okay, yeah, I had trouble with the love triangle. I guess before we get onto a new tangent, what did you actually think of the Ringmaster as a character, though? Like, you liked him, you thought he was intriguing, you just
Yeah.
didn't like the idea of, like, the love triangle.
Yeah, I liked that he created mystery. I thought that the character was written well. We got to, like, for a mysterious character, because we got bits of his backstory woven in, but it wasn't overwhelming that he was, it was like, it was just enough mystery to keep you guessing and to be interested in the character for not knowing something. So I liked the way that she wrote him, and I thought that we got just enough backstory to hook our attention, but not enough to take main focus of his life. And I like just like the playfulness that added into the story, but I just didn't like the love triangle-ness.
Agreed. Yeah, I definitely liked him too. And I mean, they basically, Audrey Rose says at the very end that they haven't seen, like, that they haven't seen the last of him and Houdini. So hopefully he'll come back and we'll get a little bit more of character development from him.
And I would be fine if I, like, didn't see him,
That's true.
like, yeah.
It was more like a mysterious character. So like you said, it was he lacked character development, but in a mysterious way, and it worked well.
Yeah, it wasn't like a poorly written, lacking character development type of way. Like, it was very intentional, and it was like a good way that she wrote it type of way.
Agreed. Yeah, I definitely agree.
Did you guys, like, in the comment section, did you guys like Metaphysics or whatever his name is? That's what I kept saying in my head, just for short.
Metaphysics?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So did you guys like him as a character? Did you, like, think that he was an interesting twist? Did you guys like the love triangle going on with everything? Like, we want to know your guys' feedbacks too. So what else was what's a positive? Since we talked about a negative, what was a positive that you liked with it?
I just love the banter between Audrey Rose and Thomas. Like, I feel like in this book, Thomas just stepped it up even one more. Even though we only got like a handful of pages with him, all of my quotes that are highlighted are Thomas quotes.
Yeah.
They really are. I love Metamorphosis. I like that.
That's great.
I laughed out loud so many times, especially like between Thomas and like the captain. The captain was so dumb. And like, but he was written that way on purpose. I actually thought he was the suspect. Like, I thought it was the captain the whole time. And I just thought it was really funny the way, like, Thomas and the captain just bantered, especially when they found, like, the severed arm. They were like, okay, you need to post men on each floor because someone's going to try and dispose the body. And the captain says no. And then Thomas is like, oh, yeah, that makes perfect sense. You definitely want your first class passengers to be going down on breakfast and being like, oh, look, there's half a torso. Please pass me, like, the tea and sugar.
I agree. But then here's, like, the kicker of it is, like, I felt like Thomas was a lot more outgoing with his wit, and it wasn't such, like, a secret wit with Audrey, but also we didn't get to see him that much. So it's like, it was lacking not because of the lack of Thomas, not lack of wit from Thomas. So I just wish we would have got to see more of him.
Yeah. So Reed's Reader says that she loved him as a character and would love to see more from him, but to see him as like the guy best friend. And kind of like a new brother. You know? Like a brother friend.
It's such like I feel so much for characters. So like when characters feel such strong emotions and I connect with characters so much, I take on their emotions. So I'm like, me and Audrey are still hurting from the brother thing. She can't have another brother right now. Like,
yeah,
I'm way too invested in this story.
No. I think that's been like a lot of people. So this book got a lot of controversial review, not controversial, but like people either loved it or hated it. Like Goodreads, everyone's either rating it like between a 4 and a 5, or a lot of people rated it a 5, and then I've seen like 1 and 2.
Yeah, same. And I really think it's because it's Crestworth. Like it's, you know, like, this is my baby and you have introduced someone who's gonna hurt my baby. Like, I hate this now.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's all because they're protective.
It's so dumb. Why do you introduce a random love triangle in the 3rd book?
Especially, like, come on, y'all, we are in 2018. Like, love triangles were back in, like, 2000s. Like,
yeah.
I'm over it. Don't give me any more love triangles.
100%.
Especially ones that don't make sense. Like, don't give me an insta-love triangle. Like, that's the worst.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Honestly, it was, like, so Twilight-y.
It very much was. And it's like, we all know who, like, the A game is here. Like, we know who the end game is.
Yeah.
Don't give me some, like, watered-down version to test Audrey's feelings. I didn't like that part.
Agreed. Okay, so we talked about another positive. Do you want to throw out another reason why you think you're giving it 4 out of 5 stars?
Okay, so, like, another negative part.
Yeah.
I didn't like that there was not, because there was so much drama in this one. It was all around Audrey Rose testing her feelings and Audrey Rose, like, trying to decide between boys. So we didn't really get a lot on the murders. We didn't really get a lot on the science part, which I really missed because that was such a good aspect of it, especially for YA. The seeing women focused on science and just seeing science in general being such a forefront of a topic in YA was so great.
Yeah, it was especially like, during this time period too. Yes. So you're like hitting so many, it's awesome. Yeah.
So I was so bummed that we didn't really get to see that. Like, even the uncle wasn't that big of a character in this one because they didn't explore that. They didn't really get to learn about the sciencey stuff of the forensics. So I was bummed we didn't get more of that vibe in this book, and it kind of took a turn for like drama, and I'm like, I'm not here for that. Like, if I'm gonna read drama, I'm gonna read a fiction book that's like a contemporary. Like, that's this, like, that's what I want when I'm reading these books. I want something like that.
Right. And also, like, it was just all about Audrey Rose, like, about society. Literally, I feel like every page, all she talked about was society's not going to like this. Society's not going to like this. Like, this is so inappropriate. And before, I thought it was, like, cute because, you know, it is set in the 1700s or the 1700s, I think. So, of course, like, back then, it was really inappropriate to be with, you know, unmarried with a single guy, unchaperoned and stuff. But it was too much. It was just, she made it sound, this book was like more scandalous.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to be, you know, it wasn't like, I don't know.
Which is crap, because if you think about it, like, the whole premise of the first book was that it was scandalous for her to be interested in science. Right. And now it's scandalous. She's focusing on the scandalous for the boys, and I wish she would have focused more on that science, I'm going to rebel against society type of thing. We
probably got maybe if you combined all of the words where they do their autopsies, maybe like 2 pages.
But yeah, we did not get enough. Like, there was hardly any inspecting of the bodies, you know, like, it was more like nothing. Audrey Rose sleuthing it out.
And it wasn't even that good of a sleuthing.
Yeah, exactly. So, readers said, did this book give you the horrible second book trope vibes? Yeah. This is like, but it's, even though it's a 3rd book, it's like, this was like second book slump almost.
Yeah.
Because this, like Haley said, it feels like a filler book. Because it's not really fitting, and it's not in the normal format, and it's with random characters that we're supposed to care about, but we don't care. Like,
right. Yeah. And like, I couldn't connect. So in Hunting Prince Dracula, we got to see so many new characters from the forensic school, but I felt like I connected with those characters really well. I had trouble connecting to the carnival characters.
I did too. I felt like they weren't fully fleshed enough for us to care.
Yeah.
I felt like there were so many characters she introduced that it was hard to do justice of one of them to connect with it. We just got like flashes of them versus like really getting to connect with the carnival characters
Right.
besides whatever his name is.
Yeah.
The ringmaster.
Yeah. But how did you feel about like the carnival theme?
I enjoyed that there was like a show that they went to go see,
Yeah.
and that there was like it put it on a timeline. So I liked that we had it on a ship. I loved the setting. The setting was one of my favorites. The fact that we have murders on a ship that amped up the potential for danger so much higher that it really made it good. However, I felt like it just missed the mark because there wasn't enough suspense scenes for me, which I think she could have done. Like if she would have made it more like a thriller book with this, it really would have knocked it out of the park because we have all of the elements there, but she focused on the drama of the love triangle. If she would have focused on the danger of women getting attacked on this ship or just people getting attacked on this ship, we would have felt that danger. And if we would have taken out the ringmaster and it would have been Audrey and Thomas sneaking around on the ship wanting to be together or wanting to even sleuth this out and figure out what's going on, but the danger of them getting attacked, but them working together, like they're like, it's worth the danger to figure this out and to work together. I would have swooned. Like I would have loved that if it would have been those two working together in high stakes on a ship that's having murders happen versus just Audrey Rose like flirting with people to get answers. I felt that took everything back a step.
Oh, 100%. And yeah, I agree, definitely agree with you on that. I had a trouble with the title.
Okay, explain yourself.
Okay. So we don't really see a lot of Houdini, you know? Okay, so this is what I loved about Stalking Jack the Ripper. You're basically taking a story, like not fictitious, but like, if I'm correct, the case was never solved. Like it's taken from history, and but I think the case of actual like Jack the Ripper was never solved. So she created like a new case around it. Same with Hunting Prince Dracula. Obviously, the story of Dracula and vampires aren't true, and she used that and she like created like Dracula being the murderer. So I kind of wish that she had done the same thing. Like I wish she could have like used Houdini and like with all these murderers, maybe like with Stalking Jack the Ripper, he left like a calling, like a card with all his victims, and maybe I loved how they left the tarot cards, and maybe he could have signed it like Houdini and not actually had like a real Houdini, like Harry Houdini on the ship, and like Houdini being the persona, the person that we are trying to find as the murderer.
That would have been cool. That would have been a nice add-in.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, oh, this is going to be really cool. We're going to have like carnival. It's going to be magic tricks. Like this is going to be awesome. And like, we're going to try and figure out who the killer is. And he's using the name Houdini as like, because like these women are like dying and we don't necessarily know why. Like one girl was killed in the dining room, like random, in front of everybody. And like, I don't know, it was very like a huge spectacle. So I kind of wish that she had done that. Like, I don't think we should have actually had a character in the book named Houdini. Like, I wish that would have been the nickname for the murder.
Yeah. See, and that would have been really cool to pair up with my, like, if Thomas and Audrey were sneaking around at night trying to catch this person and Houdini was constantly eluding them and, like, almost, like, taunting them that they couldn't catch him. That, like, by signing and leaving hints and, like where you'd see, like, snippets of him, but, like, he would disappear and it would constantly be like trying to catch Houdini.
Yeah, like Jack the Ripper. Yeah, exactly.
That would have worked out so much better than Houdini being an actual person. And again, with Liza and Houdini, like I just
Oh, oh,
didn't care
what?
that much.
I mean, I love Liza. She's probably one of my top characters. I don't know why. I like her a lot.
Because she has sass, and we've seen her sass in the earlier books that she also kind of rebels against society.
Yeah, I really like her. So, but there could have been a better way to get her on the ship than like having her run away and causing more scandal and more drama. And then like, oh, Houdini's cheating on you, but he's not really cheating on you. And it's just oh my God, it was too dramatic. I like you said, I miss the science of it. I miss seeing the forensics part of it.
So I agree with you there. There could have been a better way to go about having her on the ship.
Yeah.
However, I do think it's very in character for Liza to be like, I don't care about society, I'm gonna run away and do what I want. Like,
That's true.
that's like her personality. But I wish she was like, I don't care what you think, uncle, like I'm gonna do whatever. Like, I wish she was kept that sassiness instead of like, as soon as she was found out, she like got reined in like
Yeah.
super hard. I'm like, you went as far as to run away to the circus, and now you're all of a sudden be like, I'm gonna obey everything and I'm all about society. Like, what?
Yeah, that's true. And like, so I think I would have enjoyed actually. I like the idea of her running away with the circus, but maybe not for a boy. Maybe she could have just run away with the circus.
I agree.
Or maybe I don't know. I didn't like it. It just caused more drama. I mean, and even if she had run away with the circus for a boy, I didn't see the point of like the ringmaster like bringing in Audrey Rose for like Liza's, honor. I'm just like, ugh, I don't know.
Yeah. So something that I always, always, always admire about Carrie Miscalco's writing, it's beautiful, it's so well done, and I have not read an author that does this as well as her, at least in my opinion. And I love how this is set in 1800s and how forward thinking she is, and she plants the forward thinking that's very prominent in our day now and puts it back then and responds appropriately. And I'm in such awe of her writing, the way that she does this.
Mm-hmm.
So I have gone through and I highlighted like some of my favorite parts in green for forward thinking. So I'm gonna read like a little snippet that like what I get about such forward thinking. So it says, as if women were mere animals to be fancied when it suited a gentleman. And then it skips down and she goes, we women could be called creatures if only the men who said such careless words accepted our claws or fearsome things when we decided to scratch. Like, the way that she uses her craft to have those forward thinking moments and to appreciate the underprivileged parts, it is just phenomenal. Like, that she will always be one of my favorite writers because of the way that she crafts her craft like this. Like, I mean, it's artwork. Like, I adore her writing because of this, and that's, even if I didn't like the plot, the way that she uses her craft will always be high in my book because it's so amazing to me.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I like how Thomas is always like, you can do what you want.
Yes. Oh my God. I love that. The fact that it's in the 1800s and he's like, I'm not going to tell you what to do, which would so not be appropriate like back then. So the fact that she's worked that into it like makes Thomas way more endearing. Like, oh, I loved that.
Yeah. There's a scene. Oh, I highlighted it, but I can't find it. But basically,
while you're trying to find that, I'm going to read another forward-thinking one that I adored. It says, gentlemen weren't normally given elixirs for nerves, a foolish societal notion claiming men didn't experience such emotions. So I loved that we get that men should be treated just as equal as women, and the fact that they experience the exact same emotions we do, just because they're men doesn't mean that they are supposed to be tougher. And I like that we constantly get to see women sentences about women not being treated correctly, and I like that she tied in that men are also not treated correctly either, and they can be like I don't know the word for it, but like expected too much out of them and like to fit into stereotypes basically.
Yeah, like
men need to be
don't
manly.
cry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so this is the part where like she goes off with Mephistopheles, I think is how you say it. I'm not sure, but Thomas says, thanking me is unnecessary. You are always free to do as you please, even if you choose to follow a strange man in a gaudy suit into the bowels of a stream cruiser while someone in his show is murdering women. I'll see you in a bit.
See, and I love the way, like, I just love Thomas. I love the way that we get to see Thomas being like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. But then he works in the wit, and it just, like, it blends so perfectly, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even, like, now, there's no way Kevin would be like, oh, yeah, sure, go off with some strange man you don't know. Like, he'd be like, no, or I'm coming with you. Like, absolutely not. That's not okay.
So I don't know if this is annoying, but I'm going to keep reading my highlighted green points because I seriously, like I said, I'm in such awe of her writing style. So you will make him very happy, Audrey Rose, but most importantly, I believe he will make you also make you very happy. And again, women weren't, their happiness wasn't prized back then. It was that, they got married and had babies and they, produced heirs, and that's what their focus was. It wasn't what is going to hold them equal.
Right. And I also really like how they're always like, Audrey Rose would be like, they never say it, like her writing is very PG. So there's no cussing, but Audrey Rose will say, yeah, I cussed or I swore words that are definitely not appropriate for women. But I like that because, like, women cuss.
Yes, absolutely. Another one says, if she were a he, I doubt they'd call her such names. Like, I just love the way that Carrie Maniscalco calls out on, crap that happens now that is so prevalent back then. And so it's like Audrey Rose, who is often the person who is thinking these things, is so ahead of her time because she works in prominent issues now. Like, we have those issues now that,
Yeah, and then I have one where Eliza, they're talking about the ringmaster, and she's like, what are you doing? Like, he's a snake. So she says, never ever give up yourself for someone else, Audrey Rose. The right person will want you just as you are, and if they don't, forget them. Tipping the scales too far in either direction is nothing but trouble.
I totally highlighted that one too.
Oh, you did? Yeah, I really like that. Because like you said, back then women were just married off, so also
we also talk about that quote though, that when she says that, I was like, I felt so much for her because she was getting burned, like it was kind of like a scorned woman saying that because of Houdini.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then kind of going back, I highlighted this quote, kind of going back to what you were saying about like the plot and the setting. It says a pretty prison was what this ship had become. So I wish that we had felt more, because Carrie Maniscalco does like a really great job with suspense. I love her suspense, like in Hunting Prince Dracula at the very beginning in the train, and then with like Harry being submerged underwater, and she's just like tick tick tock tock, and especially or when Thomas volunteers to have the swords go through him. And that scene was just drawn out for a while. Like the suspense was really drawn out. And I like that. Those are good, appropriate times to kind of draw out scenes when you're trying to create suspense. But then after that, just the drama was too much.
See, and that's like the good drama is like it's the suspense and drama of what's going to happen next, and then you're pulled into it versus like the same old like, is she going to kiss him? Is she going to leave Thomas? Like,
oh my
crap
god!
that you deal
And there
with.
were too many like random scenes with her and the ringmaster together that like made no sense.
And that's drawn out. Like they would just be like rambling about nothing, and I'm like, what am I reading? Like,
Yeah.
what does this have anything to do with the scene or with the characters? Like I felt like there was a lot of like filler stuff. Maybe that like, I mean, we were reading the arc, so maybe it got chopped out. But
yeah. And like, why are they teaching her to like do magic tricks? I didn't understand that either.
to be a part of like to be in the inner circle, I don't know. That also, I felt like circus people are like notorious for like only trusting their own, right? So even though whatever the ringmaster brought her in, I didn't feel like that was they wouldn't have still accepted her. I felt like what would have been more normal would be like accepting her in front of the ringmaster and then shunning her when he left.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I think you mentioned this at the very beginning. It just wasn't really cohesive.
I agree.
It's like there's so many parts that I love where like when you're talking, you know, I'm rereading my favorite quotes and I want to give it like all the like her writing is like a 5 out of 5 stars. I love it. There's just so many things I love, but then there's just so many things that just didn't
just missed the mark.
Yeah, it just didn't fit. And I'm just like, what? Like, I don't know. There's just interesting stuff. Do we want to talk about the suspect a little bit?
Sure.
Like the murderer. Were you surprised at all? Oh, wait.
Yes, we know that the ending was changed, but the murderer stayed the same, but the ending was just slightly changed.
Yeah, we know. So, yeah, do you want me to do it or do you want to do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. I know in the final copy, the ending where that was on stage where we find out that it's Andres, right? Andres is the killer, and that where Audrey Rose gets hurt. In the arc, she actually runs off stage. So she goes on stage and then she notices that Thomas is no longer sitting at the table and she runs off stage and she sees that Andres has Thomas like blindfolded and tied, like hands bound, and like that whole fighting scene happens off of the stage.
Which I think the stage makes way more sense because he like wanted to get caught.
Yeah, and so that's pretty much the only thing, the only like difference, I think.
So in my opinion, it's a good change.
Yeah.
Okay, the captain also was like, is it the captain? Like he was the only one that was like, I'm terrible about sleuthing things out in books.
Yeah.
But I was like, we don't have a ton of stuff that we know about him, but like he's shady, and it took me a while to figure out who the murderer was, and did you guys get it right away? Did you think it was obvious? Did you catch it way?
And like same with actually like I think Hannah, you figured out Stalking Jack the Ripper pretty quickly. Like you knew who the murderer was. It took me a while. Same with Hunting Prince Dracula. For some reason, I'm not figuring out the murderers in her books. So
Yeah.
Okay.
The girlfriend thing gives it away.
Yeah, see, I guess I didn't catch on that. I really thought it was the captain because the captain was so dumb. I mean, so dumb.
So I was trying to go through it because it's like you obviously know it's not going to be the ringmaster because it's too obvious, right?
Yeah.
And we don't really get enough backstory on a lot of the other ones. So I was narrowing it down between when it really got in my head that, oh, he might actually be it might be Andreas, that when they're in like down below where all the trunks are and they catch him kissing and she's like, oh, but it might be Andreas because that's the first thing. And I was like, oh, like it's always the quiet one. Because it was like,
Mhm.
it was when, do you know what the thing I was talking about when Mephis finally kisses Audrey Rose?
Yeah.
So when she turns around and she sees um Jean, like
Gian.
J
Gian.
Jean,
Yeah.
um, she turns around and she's like, "Oh, he's right there," and he was like kind of smirking, like dumb girl getting tied up in this web. And then Andreas was next to him and was like, also like analyzing the situation basically. And
Mhm.
I was like, "Yep, it's always like the quiet one that's off to the side." And I was like, "I bet it's him."
See, part of me, so I thought it was either the captain or I thought it was going to be like, I actually thought it was going to be maybe like the carnival.
Oh,
Like,
like the whole like a whole conspiracy thing.
yeah, like a whole like group.
I could
Like,
see that happening in like a different book.
yeah,
I
that's,
didn't see because we didn't get enough of the carnival interactions to
I know.
really feel as like a family. Like they talked about it as they were so close knit, but you didn't really see them interact like a close family.
Mm-mm. And I think that's why it was hard for me to just like figure out who it was because I feel like I was having trouble connecting with the characters that like none of the characters seemed really plausible to me. That's why I really thought it was the captain. Also, I didn't think that it was Audrey Rose's uncle, but he annoyed me the entire book. I kind of wish he wasn't there. Like, I wish that it had just been Audrey Rose and Thomas on the ship
See,
and like, sleuthing everything out, like in Hunting Prince Dracula, because honestly, the uncle was just there and just got so annoying. It was so annoying.
it doesn't make sense because he was constantly like worried about what society thinks and about Audrey Rose and Liza. But it doesn't make sense because Audrey Rose's father was supposed to be like the conservative one, and the uncle was supposed to be like the little more lax one because he was
Right.
treating Audrey Rose.
And I mean, he was training her behind her dad's back.
Yeah, so it didn't really match with his personality of his other two, like in the other two books.
Yeah, I was like, why is he so stern and strict? Like, he literally was in the at Stalking Jack the Ripper, letting her attend college classes where women were not allowed to attend, and he was letting her attend behind her dad's back when he specifically said no. So yeah. Yeah, so Reed's reader actually just said, I want to know who did the ripped up body. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the reasons, like, with, like, like, we know why Andreas killed these, like, the girls and everything, but, like, why did he kill them the way he did? You know?
Like with the tarot cards and
Yeah.
based off of them, it didn't really like have the backstory of it.
Yeah, yeah. Like, in Stalking Jack the Ripper, he was taking organs for a reason.
Yeah.
Hunting Prince Dracula, they were draining blood for a reason out of like the victims. So like why on this one, like why is one of them stabbed to death? And then why is, I don't know, it was really interesting.
Plus, if it was like, because this is a revenge tale, don't you think that it would have been more catered towards terrorizing the people he was taking revenge on versus like incriminating the circus? Because
Yeah,
the tarot cards and the way in the manner that he kills the people are all based on the tarot cards to point back to the circus. What did he have against the circus? Like, I didn't understand that part. Is like,
yeah.
wouldn't he have tailored it to making like the person's nightmare versus trying to
Yeah,
make it?
that actually makes sense. Like, because Yeah, why is it the circus? Why isn't it like a random passenger on board? Like one of the waiters or something.
I mean, I guess it's like an easy scapegoat to play into, but it doesn't make sense why he would go to such extreme lengths. Like the one who was like tied all up, like how much work that would have gone into to execute.
And then
And
set her on
especially
fire.
yeah, and so it's like if he why did he go through all of that work if it wasn't like I don't know. It doesn't make full sense. Like, why would he go through that much work if he was just trying to enact revenge on someone?
Yeah. And then did we ever find out why the first girl died? The one who had the knife in her back? She was poisoned, right? Was she poisoned in her drink?
I think
Because she
so.
died before the knife went in.
Yeah.
Before she was stabbed with a knife in her back. Wasn't like in the very first chapter.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I felt like we didn't get as much closure with the murders. I don't know. Maybe it was, I don't know, was it more in the final draft? Did they explain it more? Was it just like kind of omitted in the arc? Okay.
So Reed's reader said, well, he does blame the ringmaster for introducing him to his girlfriend, so he was getting revenge on the circus as well. I don't know. That feels too much like an easy out. It doesn't feel as well thought out as her other books.
Yeah, agreed.
Do we have anything else that we want to talk about before we close out? We're starting to go over into the other hour here.
Yeah. I went over kind of everything that I wrote down.
So I'm obviously reading the last one.
Yeah,
Like, that's
sure.
a given.
I mean, you don't go 3 books in and not read the 4th one.
Yeah. So I guess I'm hoping now that they're going to be off the boat that it's going to go back to kind of the same methods, I guess, and the more well thought out things and things like that. In the next book, I'm hoping that it'll go back to its like same rhythm that she had on the first 2 books.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. No more third.
Yeah.
No more like love triangles. I need a Crestworth wedding. Yes, actually. And I want them to elope because I feel like that would be in their characters.
Right? Not doing something the way that society tells them to. Yes.
Yeah. Like not, and like it's really funny that like that's the biggest thing that Thomas is like, why can't we be engaged? Why can't we be engaged? And she's like, I really want you to ask my father's permission. And it's like, what? Since when is she so traditional? I don't know. I didn't like that. And then yes, Haley, the ending. I was like, what is going on? Like when they like, I don't know if they necessarily like briefly broke up, but he was like, yeah, I'm staying. I don't know. And then I'm confused. Is he staying in America and she's going back to England, or is she staying in America as well? Or is he going back to England with her?
I think that they have to stay like in America to finish because that was the whole point is this was like the stepping stone to go to America.
Right. Well, she's injured.
I know, but like I feel like for the plot lines, the whole point of them being on the boat, like
Right.
I would be irritated as if next book they were not in America because that was the whole reason why we went through this book.
Right. For what's it called? The something murderer? It starts with B. I'm excited. Oh. Bavarian Ripper. Yeah. So that sounds like maybe something more along the lines of the first and the second book.
I'm hoping so. Also, I am praying to Carrie Maniscalco that she puts Thomas's sister back in because I loved her.
Oh, I love her.
She's like one of made like Hunting Prince Dracula for me. Like I adored her.
Yeah,
and that romance. Really that romance was too good.
She was so good. I love that. That's another very, very, very forward.
Yes.
Like you don't really see that, so.
Okay, so next month we are doing Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. So hopefully you guys will join us for that. And stay tuned. We are going to be doing not Silver Shadows. Yeah, Silver Shadows.
Oh, I hope it's Silver Shadows.
We're doing Silver Shadows after this, and we're doing Ruby Circle for this month too. But we're going to discuss Silver Shadows here once we start a new live stream. So stay tuned for that. So come talk to us about that too.
Yay.
So we will see you guys in a few minutes.
Bye. Bye.